Krett? Really, Krett? Oh my god.
Hey, what's up, folks? Whoops. I was tweeting. Anyway, what up? It's another episode of Really. I'm just back from Cogvitational, and Krett is also back from... You were there, weren't you?
No.
Well, we're back, which means two things. One, it means that we're back from Cogvitational, which means that already happened, and SPL Week 6 is coming, which is cool.
It is. Yeah, it is cool. We came in second, F-Dot came in first, and with all his prize money, he bought a new house and a new dog.
Yep, pretty much. So, seriously though, you guys did great. We just got back from Cog. How was your trip?
The travel day back was a lot better than the travel day there. Just sort of, it was one of those quick layover days. Like the first one was like a walk to the next plane, get on it layover. The second one was like have some food, then get on the plane. So it was pretty good. Got in around 10:30 and like immediately went to eat a bowl of cereal, but the milk had gone bad.
Of course!
Yeah.
You're a rookie?
So I just ate the bowl of cereal without the milk, and it was okay.
Well, come on.
It was cocoa.
Before you go out, you gotta clean your fridge, because you know that
Well,
shit's gonna be
not
bad.
everyone left. Carol was still here. She just didn't drink the milk.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Anyway. So...
That's still gross. I hate... Milk is one of the worst things that I think can go bad.
Yeah.
Like meat, I can deal with meat. You like touch it, it's slimy, you throw it out, gross, whatever.
Yeah. It just gets confusing when it's ham, because it's kind of like always slimy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a good flight. I actually, yes and no. I hung out with, on the same flight, because we all live here, was Allied Shell, Adonis, me, Barracuda, and then Kiki and Shaylas.
And you trolled everyone by snoring on the flight.
No, I did. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Adonis, that's gross. People that are saying put water in your cereal. It's like, when I was a kid, I was allergic to milk. They told me to put orange juice in my cereal. Doctor. I came back and I screamed at him. That shit was disgusting. Anyway.
Good, that's disgusting. Can you drink milk now?
Yeah, I can.
Do you have it in cereal?
Yes, I
Is it
basically
good?
just... Yeah, it's good. I basically just said whatever.
Yeah.
So I sat with Barra. It was actually interesting. San Jose and like a 30-minute flight to LA, and then we said goodbye. And then other people came up on the, on the plane or whatever. And so I get the window seat, Barra gets the aisle seat, and a girl sits in the middle. She's cute. Talk to her. She's nice. She's funny. Awesome. We spend like 45 minutes talking. It's cool. She, local. And then I pass out and snore like a fucking siege rhino. Like, just weird.
I don't even know what a siege rhino is.
So, I mean, a siege rhino is it's a fantastic rhino. But, I mean, when I snore, I don't just like,
No,
it's like,
he doesn't.
I mean, it's a crash of rhinos. It's
So
just,
not
it's
only
intense.
is it intense and loud, but it varies in 10-minute intervals, so you can't get used to it.
But either way, I woke up and like I know how like I know what goes on when I sleep.
Yeah.
And so I just look to my left and she's like angled away from me before, like, it was awesome. She's angled away from me with her headphones on and a beanie, like leaned over watching something, to the point where like it was definitely to drown my ass out. And I'm like, Barracuda, you didn't wake me up, come on. And he was like, no, man. He just tweeted about me instead.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yep. I just listened to the Wheel of Time on audiobook, which has been better than nothing. And I watched a Chinese movie that was amazing.
Ooh.
It's called Wolf Warrior. And
Wolf Warrior.
Yeah, and there's this sniper, right? And he goes against orders and like does some parkour and like shoots this guy who's like a criminal overlord's brother. No, he's not a Wolf Warrior yet. And so they like lock him up, and then he gets recruited for the Wolf Warriors, which is like the elite unit. And like they do like a training thing, like a war game against like this other group, which was his last unit.
So is he like an animorph?
No.
Or is he a
He's
wolf?
just a soldier. He's just a soldier. The platoon is just called
just
the
a
Wolf
person?
Warriors, right? Yeah, and it's this great thing where like when he joins the
I thought he was.
No. He's just a Chinese guy, dude.
Warrior,
No,
made
dude,
out
that's
of-
racist. He's just a normal Chinese guy.
No.
Anyway,
I'm not interested.
So yeah, anyway, he like they fly him over to where he joins the platoon, and he like gets on this there's this helicopter that picks him up from like a cord, and he's just dangling and flying through the air. Then they land him on this landing pad, and they do the scene where like all of the army vehicles
awesome.
like roll up, and they're like, "Look how awesome our military is," and they jerk off for about 10 minutes. And then they introduce the mercenaries,
No way.
and there are like 5 mercenaries, and they're way cooler than the good guys, and so they kill everybody, and then yeah, it's a fun film. You would
sounds
like
amazing.
it. And then
sounds
Derek,
awesome.
who was sitting next to me, watched it after he finished his first movie, so that was weird.
Well, that's cute.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and then I listened to more
I-
audiobooks. Then it was good.
nice. You live a very interesting life.
I
got
do,
home
man. It's
and,
fun.
It was fun. We had some meetings today about
Uh-huh.
computational and all that fun stuff.
Oh, so
and
you worked on
then
your day
just
off
came
again?
home. You know, it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
You gotta do both. But so, yeah, and it was actually really cool because computational was fun. So, how did you guys enjoy it? I mean, I thought it was a great time.
We enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't a full LAN, and like it wasn't the whole experience, so that had some pros and some cons.
Right.
Yeah, pros and some cons, right? Like it was more relaxed, and you could use skins, and that was cool.
Skins!
Yeah, it was cool. Skins are fun.
As a coach, do you pick any skins specifically? For
Not the Thanatos skin.
That was very funny.
Yeah.
I
I think there are some skins that, like, if you're talking about tactically, yeah, there are some skins you pick. Like, I think it's the Sword in the Stone ward skin is quieter than every other ward, so you use that one.
Ooh.
Yeah. And, so you get your stealth wards. And then use the new On Her skin, because it doesn't look like normal On Her, so it just confuses the hell out of everyone. No, like, it does, but, like, alright, On Her's impale is like, boom, right? Like, it's this really loud noise, right?
I missed that. What's it like?
It's like, boom, right?
Yeah.
And On Her's impale in that skin is like, pew. You don't even know he does it. It's actually really, like, it's really different. So you can, like, pick some skins that mess with people a little, but...
Actually, I'm trying to think. There is a skin that messes with me. I don't know if it's a pirate skin or... Sometimes I just get confused because there are similar. We do have a couple of skins that are similar.
Yeah, Nuage Recolor looks like Aphrodite.
Ooh. Yeah,
Gets me every time. But really, like, that doesn't help at all because you want to kill either of them.
Iron Gamer makes you a better player.
It does. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So there's always that. But so it was interesting coming away from the joke about coaching, the truth about coaching.
Mm-hmm.
You were in comms with your team?
Yes.
That's interesting. I have thought about that for a long time. I like it in some games. I don't like it in others. So
I think it's good.
Well, yeah, said the coach.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only coach at the event likes being on comms. Shocking.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
it was funny because we had a meeting at like 10 p.m. the night before the LAN, and they talked about a bunch of things. One of the things they talked about, Dan was just like, and you can have a 6th person on comms, and I'm just like, yeah! And no one else said anything because I was the only person. It was hilarious.
it was really funny. You saw, and then Jigs was like, yeah, oh.
Wait, that's not me anymore.
I mean, that didn't happen, but still, it was interesting. I liked it. I liked the idea.
Yeah. You know what though?
But the problem is, not every team has a coach right now. So
yeah. And also there wasn't enough room behind the desks to pace, and pacing as a coach makes you look much more important and involved.
Well,
and honestly, like, that's the truth. I would have paced if I could. It just looks better.
Oh, I believe it. I 100% believe it. It also looks better if your tie reaches your belly button. Anyway,
my tie did reach my belly button. You just don't know where my belly button is.
That's frightening. Talk to me about what you actually did. I get the idea that, like, you're not exactly shouting itemization and mathematics into the...
I mean, that happened a few times, right? Like, Zapman built a Frostbound hammer, and everyone was like, why is he building a Frostbound hammer? And he was like, yo, do you think this will help me live through Circadian? And it's like, yeah, probably. It's 400 health. So he built a Frostbound hammer. You know, like...
Right.
Also, it was that
that's not the
fucking
majority
simple,
of
so, like,
right?
get trolled, nerds.
Yeah, but you're not sitting there with, like, fucking Krett Calc version 1.69.
I actually have it programmed on my watch. Yeah.
No, you don't. I know what watch you have. And secondly, so what
No,
are
it's
you
in
doing?
it's in binary on my watch.
So what are you doing? I'm ignoring it.
A lot of it is just being repetitive and like talking about the game plan. Like game 3 against COG, Aurora didn't build Watcher's Gift, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, all right, just farm, don't fight, just farm, don't fight. And I said it like every 30 seconds because if you don't fight, the support with Bluestone is going to fall behind for free.
Mm-hmm.
You'd say the same thing against like Thanatos, who didn't buy Bumbas, right? Just don't
Yeah.
fight, we win by default.
Just reminders and stuff. Anything tactically? Like, are you sitting there? Because I know that your shot caller is who is your shot caller? It's there.
Overall is Zapman. But
Okay.
like there's like on the fly jungler
Yeah,
stuff.
jungler
Stuff.
Jungler does that, right?
Yeah.
Did you sort of take because that's basically accepted that the jungler is maybe not the shot caller, but at the very least an idea man because he's the one that's all over the map and has the big picture.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you have the bigger picture. So do you take that role? Are you sort of like, hey, Dare's on the right side, solo lane, wake the fuck up, why don't we do something? Or
So
like,
every so often, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually my team handles that because they're really, really good, but like there'll be some stuff where I'll, notice something, or like if we're doing a fire giant push, I'm like, okay, this route is slightly better, and then the team will talk about it a little bit, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, whatever. And, like, oh, we should do mid tower and then Gold Fury, and then they'll be like, no, we don't have time for mid tower, let's do buffs, or mid tower then buffs and then back, and they're like, okay, we'll do that. So you do mid tower and then you do buffs and then you back, then you do Gold Fury or whatever. It's just sort of another voice in there. Because it's a LAN event, sometimes like
do you have final
cheering-
say?
No, Zap does. I mean, it's not my job. It's not even like I'm not even in that equation for final say. I repeat the final say, I guess is the better way to say it.
Now, do you think that's interesting. Because, like, theoretically, I guess not. Theoretically, you might have the best objective opinion, not because of your skill level or intelligence level, but because of your helicopter view.
Only if I could pace, but there wasn't enough room. I could only see 2 monitors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, if you could.
If you could, yeah. Yeah, dude, if you, like, set them up in a circle around me, I'm down. That would be awesome.
Word?
The command center. But,
Yeah. I mean,
And I think that's in Counter-Strike a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
Don't they have coaches on comms? So you can do stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, the other thing is that, like, it's a LAN, sometimes it gets loud, and the worst thing that happens, and this has happened to every LAN player at some point, where, like, the cheer goes into your microphone, and then it just bounces around in your mumble, and it's awful.
Oh, yeah. No, it's awesome.
But you can just, I can add another voice being like, do the fire giant, right? So,
Right. Now, you guys, I know that you guys don't practice, like, or even play. I know that you're not on comms and don't talk to your team during SPL games because why do that when you can't do that in LAN, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, like, if someone is like, hey, what should I do here? I'm not going to not answer them.
Yeah.
But, like, we don't prepare. I'm not a part of the comms until we know. So, like, one of the things my team asked me to do is keep timers, which I tried to do. Once again, hard when I can't see everyone's monitor. But, like, if someone was like, oh, they just pop beats, I'll be like, okay, it comes up at 11:30 or whatever.
Right.
Like, little stuff like that.
Do you think if you were allowed this opportunity more, like if the SPL adopted this or whatever, just for argument's sake, do you think that you would eventually become the final say, or like where do you think?
I think it would be different for every team.
Sure, but where do you think like the maximum you can go with this is?
All right, communication for a team in a professional setting, I think, is the best analogy is a tapestry, right? Because it's got a bunch of individual pieces that need to be like fully fleshed out. But it's not until you look at the whole thing that you get your result, right? It's like, it's the big look that lets you understand it. Or what comes to mind is, and this is because they had a reproduction of it at my university, Hieronymus Bosch's Garden of Earthly Delights.
Okay.
Right?
Expand.
And so if you haven't seen that painting, and I'm sure someone in the chat can Google and find a link, it's heaven on the left, purgatory in the middle, and hell on the right. And it's this painting of like a depiction of the 3 different planes. And and it's got all these little details that are really interesting and stuff, but you don't,
Right.
I feel like you don't get it if you're not looking at the whole thing, right? Like, if someone just showed you a small portion, you wouldn't understand it the same way you do if you're looking at the whole thing. And I think, like, communications for a team are like that. Where, like,
All right. Yeah, that makes the most
there's
sense.
a bunch of different pieces, you put them all together, and it has to come out to be a whole, but it could be put in different ways. Someone has to be calling engages and when we can engage, and, like, you also have to call what of your stuff is down. Like, my beads are down, my ult is down, their beads are down, their ults are down, stuff like that. You got a dog behind you.
Oh, what's up, Amir? Yeah, it makes the most sense. If you look at it from, the same perception of, like, stuff in there's the famous picture of the soldier with the gun and the food, right?
Yeah.
And the media shows portions of that picture.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. So basically, the idea. So theoretically, if you had, I mean, like I said, basically, what I'm asking or what I want to see is the deepest level, how much a coach could impact the game.
I think
say you
massively.
have a tool. Let's say you have a tool, 2 monitors or so that, or maybe like a tablet where you can see all 5 screens. Are you now the most knowledgeable person on the field? Yeah, right?
Yeah, you are,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
Like, if you give me a tablet where I can swipe left and right to switch between my players' screens, which probably is not feasible, but it would be awesome.
It's absolutely not. I mean, also, what would you do if we paid you $2 million a day and, played on the fucking moon,
I'd
right?
buy
It's
a
the
lot.
same type of
I'd
question.
buy a lot of dogs, dude. It would be awesome. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I would have everyone's build, everyone stayed in the game, their gold. So I think one of the most important things that teams don't do well, or one of the most common throw or dangerous throw, is like you're up 10k gold. You're pushing a tower. It's 5v5. You go in and you fucking die. Why do you die? Well, because you have 15,000 gold in hand. And they have all of their gold spent. So really, you're actually 5k gold behind because you haven't spent your advantage. It's not actually there. Whereas a coach can just be like, flip, flip, flip. We have 10,000 gold in hand and everyone needs to back. Or like, this is risky.
That makes sense. So that's sort of the infinite level of where we could go with that, of how much that could impact. And obviously the impact is a lot. Now, here at the COG Invitational, it was really just you, like you said, you could only see 2 monitors, not everybody's, but you had a good idea of it, and you were generally keeping track of timers and stuff. I saw Adonis ask this question much earlier, and I wanted to know, do you think that you on comms was a part of the reason that your team made it to finals?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
How big of a part?
I want to take all the credit.
But all right, sure, fine. Let's pretend you're not an asshole. Equal part of the team? Is it all like 20% out of everybody?
No,
a little bit more, a little bit less.
No, that would be 120%, and I think we did play 120%. So you're absolutely right, F-Top. No.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It would not be 120%. There's 6 people with the coach. All right, yeah, fuck you. I was thinking you were coach of a Halo team. My mistake.
Right.
You're a coach of a
I
Spike team,
dabble in Halo.
You're irrelevant enough that I forgot what team you are.
I
But
dabble
it's
in Halo.
Krett, so we've got 5 players plus a coach.
Right.
you're 6.
I don't want to say it's like, no, I'm not playing the game, but
Okay.
I do think being on comms can help people keep people's heads in the game, not getting distracted, not being like, oh, let's go on the next game. It can help us make that decision of should we F6 and move on to the next game, which we did in game 2 of the finals, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's very important because in game 1, they C9 won. Game 2, we tried to make some adjustments, but we moved in the wrong direction, right? It was pick ban based, and we moved in the wrong direction. We're like, okay, we need to move in the other direction. Let's surrender. Let's go to the next game. Stuff like that. I definitely think it's helpful. Other teams might not have a coach, but I don't think that's a reason to be like, oh, well, you can't do this.
Right, of course.
Because every team does have a 6th player. You fly out to a LAN with 6 people who can play. Because if someone can't, you need someone who is going to play in their place. And if 2 people can't, well, that sucks. I don't know. That's probably the thing where APC is just like, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's provisions most of the time.
I'm sure,
players Yeah.
You still hope it doesn't happen, though.
Of course.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hope we can get the 5 starters. It was really upsetting when Barrett got sick, right? Like, what are you gonna do? But so that's interesting. I know I've always liked the idea of coaches in comms. What's it called? Rock brings up, like, if coaches were in comms, I'm sure other teams would take it a little bit more seriously as far as the coach roles.
Oh yeah.
Because right now, I mean, there is no coach in Smite, right? Like, it's not officially recognized by the SPL because there's no like, when does that ever come into, like, why would you have to, right? Like, there's no benefit, there's no rule that requires it, so that's the change. I know I've always liked it. I like it a lot in Counter-Strike. I like it a lot in the games. It's pretty much just Counter-Strike to my knowledge, but I really like it a lot. I thought it was interesting. So personally, I think it's cool for Smite.
I think it's cool for Smite too, because Smite, at the level it's being played at right now, and maybe this is a result of the meta, is it's a game of inches, which is weird, because Smite is supposed to be the fast MOBA, but it's not the fast MOBA right now.
I think
everything happens really fast when you're in a team fight, but up until that point, you're really careful, you know?
I think if you have a coach, I think if all teams have a coach, if a coach in comms is the absolute norm, I think Wolfie's playing in the SPL at a decent level. I don't think Wolfie's the gatekeeper anymore. And, like, the idea of that...
Maybe, yeah.
Like,
you have to be a damn good coach.
Sure.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is it opens the door for mechanically gifted players that, like, have poor decision-making. Because then your decision-making...
As long as they actually listen.
Of course. Yeah. Right. And that's like, two separate other conversations. But the idea is that you open the door for players that, you know, hey, I can push my buttons real good, but what? Which is, like, a big stereotype in, like, football or, you know, most pro sports, right? It's like, well, I'm 7 feet tall and I don't know anything, but I dunked the basketball, so here I am, coach, where do I go, right? Like, I think that could be, you know, you have some idiot savants, of course, in the SPL. That could be interesting. I like that idea. So, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Obviously not during Season 2, and I don't exactly see coaches being in comps in Season 3, but who knows? I think it would be ideal. How do you like it? Only coach in the SPL?
No, dude, I'm not the only coach. Epsilon has a coach.
I know.
Denial has a coach. Elevate has a coach.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, Rushed and Nary. I'm in good company.
Well, how do you feel?
Man, I think it should be a thing. Like, I don't know, just... I feel like other teams don't have coaches isn't that great of a reason. It's like, they'll get them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And you know, like, it doesn't actually have to be a coach. You can just have a guy whose job it is to be like, blue buff, 10-15, red buff, 10-20, etc. And just track people.
Makes sense. Could be interesting. Anyway, moving away from the game. Well, not yet. You guys made it to the finals. You guys played your faces off. Realistically, I think you guys played the best here than you have in a long-ass time. Why? What the hell happened?
Momentum, for part.
Yeah.
I think this entire event was about momentum. We got it back in Game 2 against COG. And we rolled through TSM with it. We... Not entirely.
You guys murdered TSM.
Yeah, we did.
Like, COG was tough. I thought COG was taking that set in 3.
We all did too, but... Oh, well, no. I mean, we all thought COG was taking it in 2. Once we won that game, we knew it was over. Once we won Game 2, we knew it was over. But, like, TSM, we just had momentum, right? They're going in cold, we're going in hot as hell. And it was just over.
Yeah.
And we were prepared for their picks, and, you know, and it was just the perfect situation for us. I think we lost a little bit of that momentum overnight, and AFK came in cold, C9 blew them up, and they got momentum from that and took it into the finals. I think I think the finals were close enough to say that if we played the same and C9 didn't beat AFK the way they did, we probably would have won.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you guys... Those finals were fun.
Yeah,
I'm glad
they were close.
Like
Although, I would argue that all 5 games were determined primarily in picks and bans, which is weird.
Yes.
I think Smite is a little too pick and banny right now.
Alan was saying that it's about 90% of the game. Do you think
Yeah.
it's that high?
Yeah, I think that's a little too high. I think that's maybe a little too much.
Okay.
I don't know how you fix. I have no idea how you fix that. But like, man, I don't know.
I mean,
because the thing is, you can't make adjustments after P's and B's.
Right.
That's the issue. Is that like you go in the game, and you're like, I'm stuck with this. Whereas like in game, you're like, this isn't working. We can try something else. You can change the way you team fight, but you cannot change the way that you have a Hercules or whatever.
You think each team gets one mulligan? No. So let me fix that. You think each team gets one? Like
just halfway through the game, you can turn one character into another character.
No. Before combat begins, like picks and bans are over. You get the don't shit button. You think that fixes it or no?
No, because a lot of times is like the mistakes that were made in the draft. It's more like what they got, not what you got. You know. So, like, the reason, the mistake we made in Game 5 is we didn't ban Fenrir, right? That's why we lost Game 5.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you mulligan to take away their Fenrir?
How do you... Okay. How about you get the ability to make them pick again? Like, you can save a ban till immediately after a pick. And, like, you pass the ban.
That removes bad drafts, right? Like,
so
let's talk about Hell really quick.
You pass your bans and you have a counterspell, right? And it's just like, all right, so we pick Odin and Hell. And
okay, all right. So the moment they lock in, you're just like, nah.
Yeah, that's when you get your ban.
That would be interesting.
In total.
I think it would be a problem. So the reason I think it would be a problem is like Hell. Hell is a bad character, and in the meta, she is still bad. And people are like, oh, Hell is good. No. Hell's not good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Hell is a punishment.
Hell is Divine Ruin, the character.
Hell is, oh, you messed up your draft, and you let us play this bad god that should not be playable. But you messed up your draft, so now we're going to kill you with it.
Right.
And that would just remove that from the game. It would remove what C9 did against us in the last game with the Fenrir Krett. Like, they were like, oh, you have this hole in your draft, and we just broke it open and won the game off of it. It would remove that at all, which...
Well, yes and no, because think about it. The ban, like, you have 3 bans total, the same as you do now.
Oh, okay.
But you have 3 bans total, the same as you have now. This is fun.
But and the third ban is just a counterspell.
No. All of your bans are counterspells.
So you'd completely change the way that bans work?
Yes.
I'm down.
So you just like, first pick is first pick, and second pick gets 2 picks, etc., right? But at any point in time, you can be like, nah, that first pick, Sun Wukong, nah, bro, repick the guy.
Dude, I want to see that. I want to see, like, a tournament that's just run by like that. And
then, like, all right, we're saving our ban because we think they're going to, like, hell fuck us, right? And you're just like, nah, bro, repick. But if you already did that 3 times and they fifth pick hell, oops. Or if you save your ban till the last pick and they're just like, yeah, we're going to pick like...
But the problem is, does it go back to first pick? Like, I'm first pick, right? And my first pick is Janice. And you're like, nah. And then my first
it goes
pick...
back to first pick, right?
And then, okay, so then I'm like Krett. And you're like, nah. And I'm like Kwang. And you're like, nah. And then I'm like Geb.
And then you can bone me, and then you can do whatever you want.
But the problem is that just makes first pick broken.
Sure.
Because you just go through the list of OP characters and you get the 4th.
That's true, because you swap at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's true, you'd have to fix that.
Yeah.
Because you'd just be like, alright, here's 4 characters, I'm getting 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have to switch it. I don't know. It's just a...
honestly, like, I think maybe we are at the point where we need another ban.
Really?
Yeah. I think there's just too much stuff that you can front load your draft with. That's good.
Is it because there are too many OP characters at the moment? Or is it because OP's wrong, but strong, whatever. Or is it because we've reached that amount of gods?
It's either that or its supports need to be nerfed. Because supports do too much.
Supports aren't even the ones getting banned.
No, but supports determine drafts entirely. Like, supports control drafts. The pick ban phase is about your support first, and then about everything else, right? Like, Geb determines your draft. So,
oh, I see what you're saying.
No, because
I see what you're saying.
it determines the way that you play, right? So if you pick Geb, and this is no secret, like every pro player will tell you the same thing. You pick Geb, you're like, my late game is dope. I can pick a lot of hyper carries, but my duo lane loses its laning phase. You pick Sobek, you're like, we're gonna pick people off. You pick Athena, you're like, I've got a global presence to counter your ganks, and I have the best engage in the game. You pick a Sylvanas, and you're like, I have amazing AoE engage, and I have ghetto healing. Like, every support determines the way the composition works, and the way that you have to play it. And that's really strong. And so you have to ban those. You have to waste bans on those. Or you don't. You just let your opponents draft whatever and ban OP stuff. But I don't know. Like, I guess my question is just adding more picks, does picks and bans become less potent? Because right now I think it's too much.
Yeah, I mean, can you, assuming there's no mistakes, right? There's outplay, right? Odin just fucks another team, or Ares screws a Serket-based team, right? That happens. But is it, assuming no mistakes, like, we left Fenrir open, oops. Assuming that's not the case, is it, are games decided in picks and bans?
Kind of. So, like, I think the classic is, like, early game versus late game, right? So if you have a draft with a Thanatos jungle, you're expected to get 10,000 gold by the 15-minute mark. Or, not 10,000 gold, like 6,000 gold by the 15-minute mark. If you have 5,000 gold by the 15-minute mark, you're losing. If you have 6,000 gold, you're winning. And so, like, it would just be like, can the team with the early game fulfill their requirement to win? If they can't, then they lose. Because the other team is a late game team. So even then, draft controls who wins.
Right. Yeah, I mean, draft is always going to be super important.
It is.
That's why, and like, I don't mind that. That's an aspect. That's a huge aspect of MOBA. Otherwise, you have predetermined classes like a Call of Duty or a Destiny.
Or you just have like a god comp versus another god comp. You know, like it's like if you're tryharding in 5v5 pre-mains, right? Like you have we have our perfect draft that's like Geb, I don't know. I don't even know. I guess the classic would be like Agni mid, Geb support, Apollo ADC, Shock solo, and Thor jungle, right? For like season 1. And you're like, that, you can't do. Maybe not Shock solo, maybe like tier solo or whatever. But
yeah, I get it, right.
You know, you'd go in with that, and they'd go in with the other thing. It would just be like, who wins? Because we have our perfect draft, you know? So, I don't know the solution, but I do think that it's a problem. Because I think what people want to watch is the game.
Of course, yeah.
And
I mean, the game still goes on, and the game isn't unwinnable. Hell is the first time that I felt that games can be unwinnable in a long time. And I kind of feel like it's only Hell. Even with, like, the freight trains.
Nah, invades are the same, too. Like, if you draft a bad jungle in solo, and I walk into the jungle and say, these two players don't get to play, you lose.
Yeah. Alright, yeah. I'll buy that one.
Or, like, you mess up your draft and you lose lane pressure in all 5 lanes. Or, man, it was against TSM when we had the Freya. Like, whatever that was. Can't let that through. Where it was just like, banish dead. So.
Yeah, the banish is nuts. Yeah, I don't know. How much of the game should picks and bans be? 50%?
Yeah. I mean, because
Less?
I think the problem is that, like, I want to watch Smite. I don't want to be at a point where hypothetically, in reality it's a little more complicated, but hypothetically I can watch two teams draft and be like, this team wins, and then close it. Close the stream, you know?
Right.
And I think we're like on the way there. Assuming equal skill, you just look at the draft like this team wins. It's not about who outplays the other team. It's really about how well they do their draft. And obviously there are like some little things that can be different, like builds and timings and plays and stuff. But
I do think I like that drafts are very important. But
yeah,
they
should be.
When they're single elements, like I said, the hell and invades, that bothers me a little bit. But the idea that as long as fire can beat water, I'm down with water being able to beat fire. 7 out of 10 of the time.
I feel like drafts were less important during the Guardian meta, right? Like the meta before this one. I feel like they were a little less important.
They were less important because there was no difference in the drafts. It was just like but my point is that like get a shitload of hunters.
I think my point is that like I think Blink is the catalyst that makes this a thing, that makes this a problem, because with Blink you can sort of blast open small holes in your opponent's team compositions and drafts and whatever, right? Like I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just picking people off or whatever, but like, I think Blink exacerbates weaknesses to the point where it stagnates gameplay.
Blink might set like
Blink on characters that previously were not allowed to buy Blink because they had to buy Hog. Right.
I mean, we still saw that, especially with like Gebs and stuff, that you needed Blink for initiate.
Yeah, but like, no, it's that Krett shouldn't be allowed to buy Blink. Kali shouldn't be allowed to buy Blink.
Because
it adds an element to the character that unbalances them.
The character is balanced around having X amount of escapes, and Blink gives them an extra one, not because it's being used for an escape.
Blink preserves an escape because you don't have to get in, or it increases your engage range to...
Kali's the best example. You don't need to jump in and then be screwed when they escape anymore because you blink in and then jump to chase, right? Yeah. And like Krett is really scary because of Blink. So, I mean...
And the other advantage is just that like Blink Sobek is my example, right? A normal Sobek has an engage range of... or we'll do Athena. Right? A normal Athena has an engage range of a little over 55 feet, right? It's her dash range plus the range of her 2, and that's how close she can be to get you. But with Blink, she can dash then Blink, which increases her engage range to around 120 feet, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, you know what it is? It's the fact that, like, you don't get punished for having the second active. I think you should be able to get 2 actives on a jungler. I just think it should cost you something.
Like?
Gold, or time, or whatever. Like,
you think it should be like a perk in Call of Duty?
I think like, Hog should have some sort of Bumba's effect.
Okay.
So, like, Hog gives you something, right? Like, so that you're like, oh, I want to get Hog so I can do this better.
Bumba's Mask isn't necessarily an item that people want to buy in the jungle.
Bumba's Mask is straight up a requirement. Yeah.
Most of the time, people wish they could build a solo build, but you need the Bumba's Mask in the jungle, so that slows you down a little bit. So the idea is put something in the place of
not even dropping Bumbas, but like having Bumbas Part 2, right? Like Bumbas is an item that like it gives you 100 GPM from jungling. Right? But if you don't get it, you're just down 100 GPM, but like potentially you can... The only trade-off for Bumbas is like Bluestone invading, right? Where it's like, well, instead of getting this 100 GPM, I'm just gonna kill everybody.
Yeah, so what you do is you introduce an item that allows you to like summon the jungle camp, right? Where like you can shave X amount of time off of the
Sure, so
cooldown
you
is
can
jungle
accelerate
camp
your
balance,
farm
right.
as payment for
Right, yeah.
not having blink.
Yeah, you can't put XP gain. I see people in chat. You can't put XP gain on items.
Well, that would do that. Even though that would do that regardless.
Do you remember how broken Bumble
No,
was when it came
I'm
out?
just saying that like resetting a camp does increase your XP.
Yeah, but like just having items that say is like broken. That just winds up being broken. So
it just It's basically
you would rebalance the jungle cooldowns, camp timers around.
It's
this
sort of
ability,
like
right?
if a jungler like Krett is going to be able to get beads and blink, their early game should be bad. But it's not any worse than any other character. Whereas like a character like Thor or Thanatos, well, Thanatos buys blink, so you can blink, whatever. Yeah. I don't think Thor really needs blink. A character like Thor who doesn't really need blink, like, should be able to use that active slot to accelerate their
I don't think Thanatos needs blink either. Like, I mean,
blink scythe basically.
Right. Yeah. I mean, same thing. Like blink Naja, blink. That's blink anything, right? But yeah, I see what you're saying, and I think so. So, in your opinion, the change to blink didn't help. What you think the issue?
I don't think the change to blink helps at all.
Because so I mean, like
it doesn't fix blink.
The problem identified is blink used as an escape mechanism,
right? And I don't think that's the problem.
Again, I'm not on the design team for this, so like I'm not speaking for the design team. But like from the outside looking in, it looks like they were saying, "Oh, blinking in is totally fine. Blinking out is kind of bullshit. You can't blink out anymore because that's like you can't blink out at 5 seconds. You got to be like."
You gotta be like, it has to be neutral, right? Like, this is something that Mike will say every so often. He's like, okay, well, I'm sitting here and they're sitting there, and he's a Ymir. So you can blink freeze, but I'm just gonna blink away.
Right.
Or actually, the only way to counter-engage in Smite is like, Ymir blinks under your tower, you blink into their team line, backline, and it's like, well, they can't follow up on my blink because I've blinked and ulted all of them, you know?
Right.
Like, yeah. Sylvanas and Geb blink at the same time past each other, both ult the backline, and then it's even. Yeah.
You get that a lot during like tower sieges. Where like, all right, they're on this tier 2, and it cut blinks in, but so did PBM, and everybody stands there. Shit.
Yeah, and everyone's stunned. Haha. Nobody gets draw ulted, but like
it's just like the two supports just look at each other, wave, and then the fight continues.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my issue with blink is that it increases the threat and the engage range of these characters to a level that it should, and it allows them to preserve mobility, right? Like, the reason blink is amazing on Kali is because, let's say I'm Kali and you're Apollo, right? I blink in and I stun you. You beads, and you mez me, but I beads. So your mez doesn't do anything. You dash away, I dash after you, and I have a Fatalis, so you're dead. You're dead as shit, and there's nothing you can do. If you try to ult, I just kill you before you get in the air.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Kali, is that it preserves her jump, which allows her to get kills and like reduce escape potential. The problem with Blink on Circuit is kind of the same thing.
Basically, and I mean that really only affects junglers from the thought of it, right?
Yeah, I mean it would affect Tyr if anyone played him, but nobody does.
Jungle tier.
Blink Tyr solo. Like Blink teleport Tyr is like, that's kind of too good. If Tyr was a thing, that would be too good. Because the trade-off for Tyr has always been like, you either get teleport or blink. But if you could get both, that would be dope.
I guess. I mean, that's just because he doesn't have. I guess he's got ult that counts, but you're never gonna ult for aggressive positioning.
You can, but good luck.
Nobody gets tricked.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing that Blink changes,
Krett,
right? Like,
hey Krett, stand there. I'm gonna fearless you. Hey Krett, stand there. I'm gonna fearless you. All right, I'm gonna fearless you. Boom. Like, it doesn't actually.
Yeah, well, and that's actually something else that Blink changes, right? Like, a Circuit jumping at you is slow as shit. A Circuit blinking at you is she's there.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. Very true. Very true.
So I don't think the issue with Blink was addressed, and I don't think Blink should be nerfed completely, because if you change the way Blink Initiate works, you've just gutted Ymir, you've gutted Geb, you've gutted Sylvanas, you've gutted every support.
Exactly. I think the solution. I think we've already come to what could be a solution. is the fact that you make an exciting.
Junglers just need hog or something. They need something to take an active slot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I don't know what it would be.
Yeah, of course, but like that seems interesting. I think that's fair. I like that. I like that idea. Like you said, Bumba's mask and maybe Bumba's staff or something, right? I don't know. Bumba's summoning stone.
Yeah. I don't know. Just
Bumba's
something.
Bumba's baton, and it makes all people dance.
Yeah, it would be dope.
Doing bat salt, party monkey all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. This is why they don't let me in the design meetings.
No, they don't. No, it would be bad. I guess the other issue is that not having hog on supports. I don't know if it is an issue as much as it is silly, but not having hog on supports allows supports to have beads, which is like.
I don't think that's an issue at all.
I think it's funny.
I think that
five beads per team is funny though.
That's hilarious. I think that supports having creeping curse and shell is like ideal, right?
Yeah, totally.
Your supports are like I support here, right? And if you buy beads because you're getting fucked up in your areas, well, now you can't get shell. You know what I mean? Like GG. I think that's super fine, especially when you consider the fact that a good thing is too much blink on Guardians because that limits their active slot, right? That's sort of what we're talking about. With
totally limits.
junglers.
Yeah, but junglers get blink as their luxury, and they're getting the luxury for free, whereas the luxury should cost you something, right? Like
exactly. Where you're sitting there as a support going, I wish I could buy creeping curse, but I have a shell and a blink because I'm fucking in here, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And usually it's creeping curse before the shell, but you know what I'm saying. So it makes sense. It works better for the positive side, or the part that makes it work for supports is what makes it not work for junglers. That's interesting.
Which is weird. Yeah, it is weird.
Right, yeah, it's very interesting. And I mean, it's funny. That's the solution we're looking for on junglers. Without ever directly addressing that is the solution that we came up for. Is that supports are limited in their actives because some of them have to pick up blink, and we want to limit junglers' actives by forcing them to something that they have to get, right?
Honestly, I think you just revert hog and make it only work on jungle creeps and objectives, and you'd be fine.
I think hog is boring. I think you go a different route, but
I mean, yeah, sure. I just like. That would fix it. Let me put it this way. That would fix it, because that fixes two things. Like, one, your jungler has to get hog, but your solo laner and your support aren't getting hog because it's useless in their lane. Hell, you could even make hog hit all 3 creeps again. Sure.
Yeah,
2, it brings back objective secure, and I miss objective secure.
Fuck that. No, I like objective secure.
No. Alright, here's the fucking problem, though. Here's the fucking problem, and this is a real serious problem with the game. I have 2,000 damage bursts on my team, right? I've got a raw 1, a raw ult. They're going to hit at the exact same time, and I'm comboing it with the Ymir. It takes a lot of skill and a lot of effort to put it at the same time. And it is fucking bullshit that a Bakasura can jump in, and out of sheer luck, his 140 damage jump can take the Gold Fury. But that's entirely possible.
That's not necessarily luck.
No, it is 100% sheer luck. Because what is happening is the Gold Fury is the 2,000 damage burst happening at the same time as this 150 damage burst, and out of sheer luck, because it's too minute for player skill to actually be a factor. The only player skill was like doing it at kind of the right time.
It's enough.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. Here's the fucking problem, man. Play a competitive game against Rama. You just can't do Gold Fury, because he could take it at any time, completely blind, with no skill, no effort, just luck. No, it's bullshit. It's bad. It stagnates the game.
No, I don't think so, because
there's no objective secure, which is stupid. Like, what can you do? Before, when supports could do it, you had Odin Cage, and you had Hunbat's ult. Or, like, you had Geb Cataclysm, and you're like, okay, this guy's gonna jump in, but I'm gonna Cataclysm, and that's gonna stun him, and I'm CC immune, so I can get the objective, and he can't stop me, and that's counterplay. There's no counterplay for the fact that Bakasura can jump in, and his 150 damage can just take the objective, and there's nothing you can do.
The counterplay is zoning him with another character.
But you can't zone Rama. Rama's in the game. There's no counterplay for that.
You just you kill him just like you did. With
No,
the
he's
support
too.
from
No,
the
no, no,
other
no. You can't.
pod.
No, Rama can do it from like fucking behind the red buff. You can't kill him. You can't zone him. You might not even have wards there. There's no counterplay. It's just bullshit.
It's more bullshit where it's just like, well, we kill the support, we get it for free. Period.
Well, it could be on
nothing you can do
junglers.
about it. Even still,
I guess I just feel like there has to be another
it's
solution
not-
because objective
it's not-
secure should
like
be a
you
thing.
said, it's not 100% luck, and if it was, I'd agree with you.
No, it is 100% luck. It is absolutely 100% luck. Like
You
as
gotta
long
get the
as long
timing
as you
right.
hit the skill requirement to be within the potential range, and that's
You gotta
not
get the
hard.
timing right.
That's no, it's not that hard. Because all right, let's say that
It
like
doesn't
there,
matter if it's that
let's say I'm a
hard. You have to
Bakasur,
get the
right,
timing.
or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm a Kali, right? I have blink,
Alright.
so I'm gonna blink into the Gold Fury pit. I can do that over the red wall. You can't fucking stop me, right? And now you're like,
Okay.
oh, we'll zone him or UCC, but I have beads, so I use my beads, and I run around for 3 seconds. I see, oh, the Gold Fury is at 10% health, so I hit my jump, and out of sheer luck, I get it. That's bullshit, and that's completely feasible. It could happen to the
Well,
Fire Giant too,
Yeah.
and that
it's-
happens like more than it should. It's pure luck.
I don't like calling it luck because you have
It's
to get
pure
the timing
luck.
right.
No,
You
because
have to get the timing right.
you don't. It's not about timing. That's the problem. Is it's throwing in your hat with the other person's burst, which is not timing. It's just like you look at Ra and he starts using his ultimate. And you're like, oh, he's bursting. Then you jump and you hit it and you get lucky.
I mean, if it was a game problem, where
It is a game problem.
You could no. What I'm saying is, if it was like a technical problem where
Oh.
you couldn't actually burst and your
But
2,000 burst
you
damage
can't
was,
actually
like, sectioned
burst.
off.
You can't actually burst because each tick of damage hits at a second time. So you're just saying, okay, there are 5 ticks of damage that are ours, and the 6th one is theirs. There's a chance that theirs gets it, and you can't do anything about it. No amount of play will make yours get it, and theirs not. It's just
So
luck.
if you use a Kukulkan ult and a Ra ult at the same time,
Right. There is a
someone
chance
does
that
a basic
Bacchus can
attack.
just steal it with a basic attack.
I'm talking the like impossibly human precise exact time.
Yeah, Bacchus can still steal that with a basic attack. Entirely possible. Like, unless you're doing it at such a threshold that, like...
That kills it. That's what I'm talking.
Yeah, but no one drafts like that.
Why not? That's a problem.
No, it's not a problem.
Why can't you?
Because you don't
treat it
draft
like
2
WoW
mages. You shouldn't need 2 people to secure a Gold Fury.
What I'm saying is, why can't you treat it like a raid boss, where it's just like our highest character objective secure,
But
right? Our
people
highest
already do
damage
that.
is a Ymir.
People already do that. It's
Exactly.
just impractical to... It's wrong to say, like, Ron Kukulkan. That's not your example. Your example is, like, Geb's Shockwave and Janice's 2 and Sun Wukong's
Irrelevant. It's a
Cudgel.
large amount of damage. That's what I'm getting.
It's a large amount of damage, but it's usually spread across multiple smaller sources, like 400, 400, 300, 500. And then they have 200, but their 200 can get it, because you're only bursting for 1500, and they just throw in their burst at some point between when the Gold Fury is about that point, and out of sheer luck by way of human error, they get it.
Luck by human error is not luck.
Yes, it is. Because it's completely out of anyone's control. Like, because it's, like, past the point where a human can actually do it. And it has always been the case in Smite. Like, it's just luck. The only
I don't agree with
potential
that.
counterexample was red hogging, which is the point where you could hog it before it hit 25%, and we thought that was skill, but it was actually a bug, and you can hog it at 26%. And that's a different skill, but it was just still the same thing. It's just human error. It's still luck, because it's not timing. You can time your stuff perfectly, and they can still get it. As long as they hit
Not
the same timing.
perfectly.
No, yeah. Because as long as they hit the same timing as you, their damage can just be the one that gets the kill.
So if there was a change in the technical code,
Oh, here. Aduro in chat. I had a Fire Giant stolen by a Poseidon Whirlpool after Opwash 6 Corpse Burst and ADC crits. Like, that's how you do it. But there's just a chance that Poseidon's Whirlpool, which ticks for 65, but it's a ticks move, so it's ticking every half a second, can get it.
mm-hmm.
And like,
so the technical, so like when you do 2,600 damage in 3 abilities, it doesn't do 26 damage. If you, like I said,
well, because it could be between them.
Well, what I'm asking is, I asked this and I don't think I got the right answer. If you do 2,600 damage in 3 abilities, it doesn't do, and it's at the exact millisecond.
At 2,600, you would never do that. Because it would be foolish to hit the Gold Fury with as much burst as you have, because then if you miscalculate at all, it's left over and you've used all your burst.
I'm putting it in a vacuum, dude. I'm saying, like, just robots are playing the game,
right? And
at the exact threshold, the damage is
it would depend what abilities are used, right?
Direct
because
damage.
If you're like, it's got 2,600 burst, and we're doing a Ymir ult for 1,000, and then 2 mage ults for 800, then yeah, you're going to secure that. But if it's split up differently, then it's entirely possible that the enemy Bacchus, who belly flops in and does 300 damage, could get that. Because your burst is doing 2,400 damage, and the 5th ability, his Bacchus burp hits, or his Bacchus belly flop hits before it. Because they can't hit at exactly the same time. Even if they could hit at exactly the same time, like, then it would just be random.
Okay, yeah, that was what I'm saying. So if it is exactly
the same time, I don't know how the game would track that, because you don't know who would be getting the kill. Like, well, if it's at the exact same time, it doesn't work, right?
Because to me, this entire thing comes down to how much player influence has on it.
My point is, and that's my problem, is that players don't have influence on that. And now, if everyone hits at the exact same time, I think it would break, right? Because if everyone is hitting at like 0.000 of a second, and all this damage hits in that second, I don't know who it would go to. It would probably be random or whatever. That's not what we're talking about.
That's what it is to me. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, but then that's wrong to be talking about, is my follow-up argument. Because that's completely unrealistic. And we don't even know how the game would work with that.
But that's a player skill.
No, it's not.
That's what I'm saying.
No, because what would actually happen...
One player is better at timing their damage than another. That is player skill.
No. No. Because all you do is you just throw your burst in at the same time as their burst. And there's a chance that you get it. That's not player skill. That's just a player... That's a player doing something skillful that creates a random chance that they get the objective, which is a problem.
Not random.
It is random. No, it is random.
You just said you don't know if that's how they apply the damage. You said
but it's not actually happening at the exact same time, which is the issue. It's completely unfeasible.
That's player-based.
No. There's a combat log in the game. So at 0.01, Poseidon hits. At 0.02, Ra hits. At 0.03, Bacchus hits. At 0.04...
And if everybody hit at 0.02 is what I'm talking about.
But that's never going to happen, and the game probably doesn't even function like that.
You don't know, and that's where I base my answer on. Well, even if
then your argument is just invalid. Like, it just doesn't matter. Because we don't even know how the game would respond like that. We don't even know. What would happen?
That's where that's where.
Well, that's a completely different problem. That's a completely different problem, right? If you have 2 teams, so I guess here's my question to you: if you have 2 teams, let's say it's a match of the day, right? Mm-hmm. And 5 Kukulkans for 5 Kukulkans, and they all ult at exactly the same time, and the Gold Fury dies. Who gets it? If it hits at the exact same time, who knows?
Yeah. That's where I base my argument. That's why I don't have an opinion either way, because I need to find that out first. Because that, to me, even if it's incredibly difficult, right, to the point where it's impossibly human at the moment, I'm okay with it, because it's not luck by pure definition.
It has to be. No, well, yeah, but, like, fuck off. That's bad philosophy. Because, like, it's going to hit the point where, because of human error that is, like neurologically impossible... No. Because of human error that is, like, neurologically impossible to beat. Your brain just doesn't go fast enough. And ping, varying between different players, you're going to just get a point where it is essentially random.
Ping is a variable that I'll agree makes it rough. And while I can argue that players should be adjusted to their ping that they're on, like, fuck that. Ping is a variable that I'll accept as being...
Well, even on LAN.
But I just
Even
like,
on Len, you would encounter the same problem. It's just not under player control. Like, play the game, man. It's not under your control.
I mean, it is.
No.
It's just very hard to do.
No, it's
which
completely
is fine.
out of your control. And
I think
okay, all right.
it's
Let
a
me change my argument. As a professional player, it feels random to me, and it shouldn't.
Sure, but I mean,
That's my second argument. But like, it's essentially, it might as well be out of your control. Like, you're doing the Gold Fury, and you're like, I'm gonna burst it here, and Rama's like, oh, I think they're doing the Gold Fury, and he ults 3 times. He can get it regardless of how good you burst. Because you can't calculate for his damage, you can't prepare for it, you can't hold it.
you should be preparing for it, though. If that's the
what,
case,
what would
then
your
you should
preparing
prepare.
do? Would you wait? He doesn't have to be on your wards, because he can be anywhere on the map and hit your Gold Fury. Or Janus ult.
Right. And I mean, you just understand that, right? So you, like I said, you take care of the threat just like you did before with Hog. And I mean, that's...
No, but
that
you can't
changes
take
when
care
you
of the
can
threat.
and
You
go
can't
for
take
it.
care of the threat, because he can ult from mid-tower. Or he can ult from the red buff, or he can ult from anywhere he has a sentry ward.
Right.
So,
but it's just something you have to have in mind. So, like...
But there's no counterplay to it. The only counterplay is don't do the Gold Fury. You don't know. Yeah, so CM Stash, you don't know he's up in the air. You have no idea when he's up in the air.
Just like he doesn't know how low the Gold Fury is.
Yeah, so he can just get lucky. And take it.
Yes, that is a
But
luck
that's
shot.
my point. It shouldn't be.
And that's a luck shot.
And
You
it
still have
shouldn't be
the
a thing.
information that they're doing gold.
It shouldn't be a thing. Same with the Janus ult from base. That can get the Gold Fury and there's nothing you can do about it, regardless of how well you time your burst. And that's broken.
I don't know if I hate those 2-1 that you... Because those... yeah, I don't know if I hate that look. Because that's... The ones that I don't like is the ones that we were talking about before. Those are separate. Those to me are separate situations. Because those are like they are luck, but they're different.
But no, like
in the sense of like
even in close range, let's go. And this happened in scrims. Like Cyclone Sin stole a Gold Fury by jumping in on Bakasura, and it sucked. Like he can blink into the Gold Fury area, and you can't reasonably zone him from that because you have to have people going the Gold Fury, and you can't cover every possible angle, regardless of where your wards are. Even if you see him coming, he can blink past it, right? And then he's got CC immunity on his ultimate, and he has beads, so if he's in the pit, you can't CC him to stop him from doing it. You could maybe hold the Gold Fury, but if he gets the right timing, then you don't get to do that either, and he can just jump in and get it. And regardless of whether or not you time your burst, or you try to burst, like...
You hold the Gold Fury, etc.
He can still get it, and it's out of your control.
Again, that's what zone. That's like what the job of zoning is.
But
that's
you can't zone with Blink in the game.
Can't you get a player in combat?
What if he has wards? What if he knows where you're zoning? Like, because how many people are you gonna have zoning? You have 2? He can go around the back. There's too many ways. Or like, man, even Geb can just like roll out past, or maybe he has a winged wand, or beads, or whatever. There's so many situations where they can just do it. Or man, like, I guess the old example when Hog 3 was in the game was like Thor ults in and bought Hog 3. Like, what do? You can't do anything. If Thor is in the air and he is Hog 3, he's going to get the Gold Fury.
Yes, that's lame.
Yeah, and this is the same.
Like
and there's like infinitely...
No, because it's smaller and it's character-based.
It's not character-based. Any character can do it.
High burst characters are more about...
No, but the problem is that characters without burst can do it. The problem is that Bakasura's jump can do it.
And I mean, like, that's a matter of... again, like, that's zoning, and maybe the problem is that Blink makes it too tough to zone for these characters, but...
I think it's just a combination of too many things, right? Like, before, when you had to hog the Gold Fury, zoning was much more powerful, and there was counterplay, right? Like, the classic play is Geb blinks in and ults and then shockwaves and secures it or whatever, right? But you can stop that if you have a Hunbot's ult, because you just drop it when it's about to hit, and the moment he lands, he gets Hunbot's ulted. He can't ult, he can't secure it, he just walks away. And he doesn't have beads. And he doesn't have beads because he has Hog 3.
Right.
But, even with burst and playing well and timing it well, there's still a chance that the Gold Fury can be stolen by Thor's 1. And you have no control over it. No!
You do have control over it.
No, you don't.
You don't bring the Gold Fury down that low when Thor's around. And, you wait.
But that's just sort of no, that just creates a situation where you can't ever do the Gold Fury unless everyone's dead. And that shouldn't be the case. That would stagnate the game.
I mean, we don't see that.
You kind of do, man. Look at the recent games. There are situations where there's no kills until 20 minutes. Because you can't make those risky plays. You can't say, oh, we can secure this Gold Fury and back out.
That's the outlier. Very clearly.
Well, yeah, because every other game's snowballing. Yes. It's either snowballing or it's... Alright, here, there's a Gyauso in chat. Let's take a look at this. I want to see what this is. It just oh, okay, yeah. Fedora goes through a portal, Pestis 2, he got the Fire Giant. That's luck. That's 100% luck. And that's not his ultimate. That's not even Big Burst.
I mean, that's not luck because he's using, he's not here by accident.
Well, of course he's not there by accident, but you can't zone him, you can't counterplay him, he just, went through, pressed 2, got it, out of sheer luck.
There's a Poseidon there. That Poseidon could have timed the Kraken better.
No, you can't. That's my point. My point is that you cannot time the Kraken better to get... No, it is, yeah. It's impossible. It is actually impossible to know...
You just cut out. Did you break your mic?
My mic just gets weird when you accidentally hit the mute button. Yeah. No, it's impossible to consciously time it better.
I guess Krett was really excited.
Tom, I'm here.
Shit,
you guys
man.
can hear me. I know you can hear me.
I mean, my spiel, I guess, the end of it is how the damage is calculated. If the damage is calculated straight up, I hope you guys can hear me. If the damage is calculated straight up in the sense that, if all 5 members hit it 1 millisecond, and it randomly divvies out sections of damage, that's a problem.
But I think that's just irrelevant.
5 from offense, 1 from defense. And it's randomly divided, and it rolls a die, and figures out that just one person gets it randomly, then that's a problem. But if 5 people can deal damage at 4 milliseconds, and the 5th person damage... If the ability that steals the Fire Giant is a millisecond off of the burst, that is impossible to assume that a human can time.
Well, it's already impossible to assume that a human can time.
Because that's the skill.
That's not actually skill, though.
I don't even know. When baseball... Is it like baseball? I don't know. When you get a guy out, you catch the ball, right? And the guy is 0.1 millisecond ahead of the throw. That's not... that's not bad. Is that luck? I'm not really sure, but I don't know.
I think it's too game changing to be that out of a player's control.
That's really what it comes down to for me, I think.
I think it's too game changing.
Even if it's something that is assumed that a player can't
my mic is definitely working.
Then
can you just not hear me?
It's still something that so.
So this is weird because
I don't know if we can get
chat can hear me,
so
and he can't. And so this is weird.
It's going. Not really a solution other than play chess.
So, chat can hear me, but you can't.
But yeah. Oh, chat can
get
hear
shit
you, but
on
I can't.
Tom.
That's fine. Well, GG. Either way, it looks like we're running into some issues. I want to go take a look at the pups and stuff. Oh well. You guys are laughing, so he's probably making fun of me or something.
Yeah, no, I don't know, guys. We're gonna wrap up the show, just because I don't know what's broken. I don't know how to fix it. Actually, wait, I think I could switch to voice activity. Yo.
Right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can.
Sweet. I had to switch to voice activation.
Word. Are we live?
Yeah, no, we're still live. We're good. What up, dude?
Oh.
Yeah.
Word.
I was about to end the show, and I was like, wait, voice activation. So, listen, I don't think that...
the button?
No, my mouse, my push to talk just stopped working.
Oh.
It was weird. Yeah, anyway, I don't think this is an argument that we can settle. Clearly, we just have two different opinions that are based on different, core ideas, right? Like, different fundamental ideas. So...
You talk shit about me when Cat could hear you and I couldn't?
No.
Yeah, you did. What'd you say?
No, I didn't.
Such
It's Scamazor, don't listen to him. Anyway, chat, I want to know what you think. Shouts to Aduro for linking, the perfect GIF. This is the GIF that we are talking about, and I think you can definitely agree with me on that, Tom. This is the situation. The question is, should that be in the game? He says yes. I say, no, not really. And so let's just do, sort of final arguments, right? I think stealing objectives is cool, but I think there has to be sufficient counterplay.
I think there's enough counterplay.
I don't think there is. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I guess that's what it comes down to.
That's 100% what it comes down to. I think that because you're able to you can push and pull damage, you can do a lot, or you could do little, or you could do zero. I think that's
the
more
no
than
mix-up
enough.
mix-up. Classy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's too out of the player's hands, right? Even when it comes to, options for holding the damage or whatever, then you're just sort of getting rocks, paper, scissors, right? And I don't think many people are gonna argue that at its core, rocks, paper, scissors is a game of skill. It's designed to not be a game of skill. It's designed to just be oh, I did this thing, and maybe when you get a best of 3, you're starting to read into people. I don't know. I think it becomes a little too rock paper scissors, or a little just too random, or whatever. I don't think individual players can control the way they secure objectives. So I want to know what you think. When I release the VOD, I'm gonna make a straw poll. And
yeah, just drop a comment in the section below, especially if you're watching this on VOD. Let us know, what side you're on, and figure it out.
And I guess also let us know what you think about the idea we had on junglers, this sort of extra, some penalty or a cost, not even penalty, some cost for getting that second active spot. Because junglers are blinking, and it doesn't cost them anything, and that's kind of broken. And really, it's the blink junglers that break the game. It's really the junglers.
Blink junglers suck. We can all come agree. That's the one thing that brings us together. We will disagree on the counterplay levels around objective securing, but we've all been fucked by a Blinks or Cat.
We have.
See you next week, guys. Tuesday, 5 p.m. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Peace.